this hard lesson. I learned this I learned this the hard way, so you don't have to. You'd think I would have learned my lesson by now on this, because I actually had to learn the lesson of don't move in with a man too quick twice. I had to learn that twice. In a rather short time period, too. Just for extra insult to injury. I don't know what it is about me, but I have had to learn a lot of things the hard way. Especially with men. Like, especially with men. I have had to learn incredibly painful lessons. So, this is actually the first time I've learned this lesson. No, I haven't. I went through this the first time. This is the first time I went through this, where I moved in with a man way too quick. The first time. The second time I already talked about. So the first time, this is actually the first time I ever lived with a man, period, in a relationship. The thing about this was I was I was living with my parents at the time when, before I moved in with my second boyfriend. And I think we were only dating for about, I want to say honestly, let's just say a couple of months. I was only dating him for a couple of months. And then we started having conversations around moving in together. I was living with my parents at the time. He was living with his mom at the time. He was in a situation where he needed to move out a lot more quickly than I really needed to. I was in a pretty cushy position at my parents'. But, like, his mom was not mentally stable. And he was just not in a good living situation. So, it's like, my thought process was, oh, well, we really like each other, right? So we might as well live together, even though we barely know each other, and it's just doing this really more out of convenience than anything. But it was under the guise that, oh, we're working out so well, so we might as well just move in together. So we moved in together, I want to say, it was probably like 3 or 4 months into the relationship, I want to say. Not that that is a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, and I'm not saying don't do it. I am just saying be careful who you choose to move in with and start a life with before really getting to know them. That is all I'm saying. It is your life at the end of the day. I jumbled my words together. It is your life at the end of the day. I just want to give my personal experience, and then you do with that what you will. So we ended up finding a place together that happened to be right down the road from where he was already living with his mom. So neither one of us actually moved that far. And I was only 10 minutes down the road from my parents. So it was a good little starter apartment. The apartment was huge. It was like loft style ceilings, because it was like an older industrial silk mill kind of built. The apartment was cool. We did not need all that space. It was so funny because I feel like things were obviously hot and heavy in the beginning of our relationship. But by the time we moved in together, it died down so quick, and I don't even... Oh, there's so many layers to this story, because this is also the time where I not only fell out of love with someone, I fell out of attraction, and I quite literally was not attracted to my partner. That was hard to deal with. That's a whole nother story. And we were living together and trying to make this living together situation work. We were just both college kids trying to figure it out. Even though we were 25, 26. And it was just, the best way I could describe it is that we were each other's, no, that's not gonna, I don't think that's gonna translate very well. We were basically just dating the worst parts of each other. That's the best way I could put it. I was not my best self. He was not his best self. And we were both trying to like mesh and make a relationship work, not being our best selves. Like, we could not maintain a home. We were not cleaning. We were not like great with money. It was a hot fucking mess. And we just made that work somehow, but it was slowly crumbling. And by the time I realized this is not working. I'm done with my skincare routine, so I'm just going to talk to the camera now. I was so out of love. I was so out of whatever we had. Like, I was just not in it. And I was like, what am I doing with my life? Because it's like, I just wanted it to work so bad. And it just wasn't. So things took a turn for the worst once I had to actually break up with him, because I wasn't just gonna keep going along with something that obviously wasn't working out. Yeah, that's when the story actually gets interesting. So we'll get more into that in part 2.